No! Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to the Censored Pop channel. Today, things are gonna get personal because I'm gonna talk about something that I really hate. And it is gonna be this card right here, Black Mask Saiyan. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. I have been pretty good at identifying problematic card in this card game. For example, when it comes to Sugesh, I thought that the card was really unfair, and guess what? It got banned. When it comes to Gogeta 7, if you know me personally, I hated that card, and guess what? It got banned too. When it comes to Cell Chain, I thought that as much as people said that it is fair, however, it does promote a very unfun interaction in this card game, and guess what? It got limited. But when it comes to today's card, the Black Mask Saiyan, I would also admit that as much as I think that this card is not well designed and this card it's going to be problematic to the card game, it also does have a place in this card game. Kind of like a necessary evil. Before we talk about why, in my opinion, this card is bad for the card game, let us also understand what it does. I mean, before you're gonna hit someone, you gotta understand why you are hitting someone. I'm not asking you to hit someone. Don't hit someone. Definitely don't hit someone. This card has two auto, and the first auto is something that we don't have to focus on because it is not the reason why most people play this card. It is for the second auto. So the second auto says that when your opponent plays a battle card with 15k power or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent has to choose two cards from your hands and place them into the drop area. It is a very powerful effect because it doesn't check whether is it played from the drop area, is it played from the live, is it played from the hand. It is very generic. As long as it is a battle card, 15k power or less, using a non-keyword skill, this effect will prompt. The whole idea about Black Mask Saiyan is to protect the player from a white strategy. For example, if the opponent is playing King Piccolo, King Vegeta, and you have the Black Mask Saiyan on the board, your opponent has to get rid of it, respect the card, get rid of it before they can continue to play their cards. Because a lot of their cards are played using skills and a lot of their cards are 15k and below, they do slow the decks down. If that is the case, what is my issue with this card? I mean, King Vegeta and King Piccolo right now is so dominant in this meta. They can go white really quickly, they can kill you really quickly, and if you have this card on the board, you are able to slow them down, buys you a few turns and get your engine going before they can do anything. So what is the issue with this card? My issue with this card is that the effect is non-discriminatory. As much as this card keeps some competitive decks in check, for example like King Piccolo and King Vegeta, it also has some non-competitive casual decks and interaction caught under its crossfire. So for example, if you just want to play Pilaf and you bring it to your local, the whole idea of this deck centered around playing 10ks, 15ks, battle cards as fast as possible so that your leader can awaken and you can give your unison triple attack. However, if your opponent has Black Mask Saiyan, you're gonna have a very bad time. If you're gonna play Strum and Salsa, Magic Buddha Salsa, if you want to activate that effect, which is a very key component in the deck itself, you're gonna be having a bad time as well. Yellow Frieza, the new one, no one is already playing it because the whole idea of this, the whole mechanics is very complex. But if you want to play it, if you want to bring it to your local, Black Mask Saiyan, it's going to be problematic for you. And if you want to play theme launch, not the red and green version, you are also going to be having a very bad time because almost every single card in that deck is going to be affected by Black Mask Saiyan. What I'm trying to show you here is, yes, Black Mask Saiyan does keep some competitive decks in check. However, it also negatively impact and heavily impact a lot of other non-competitive, seemingly innocent interaction in this card game. It is almost like, you know, you have a forest with 100 trees and then 2 trees are diseased and needs to be taken off, but you burn the whole entire forest down. That's what I'm trying to say here. However, it is the second flaw of this card that actually tips this card over the edge. This card is very badly designed. This card affects the leader. That is a very huge problem. For example, if you're gonna play Chill, your opponent has Black Mask Saiyan, you can't even swing because every time you swing, you create a 10k token, and tokens are taken as battle cards in the game. That means you have to discard 2 every single time you swing. And if you're playing Nappa over here, you can choose not to play up to 1 Cyberman, but if you choose to, you have to discard 2, but if you don't choose to, you might as well just scoop. And if you're playing Wiz, the whole mechanics about Wiz is that when you combo with your skillless battle card, you are able to play them. The problem is Black Mass Saiyan doesn't discriminate. Once you play a 15k, no matter is it from the drop area, hand or warp or deck, you need to drop that 2 cards. And then Tianqin Han can't even awaken. You could say that it says that you may play 3 multiforms token into your battle area, so Tianqin Han can choose not to get around the effect of the battle card. But can I ask you, would you also choose not to draw 2 when you awaken? Would you also choose not to untap 1 or untap 2 during awaken? You don't want to, so don't expect Tianqin Han to not do it. It is the mechanics of the leader. There is one thing that we cannot do in this card game. We cannot sideboard leader, so this is just very, very badly designed, because one card that is just one cost can affect what the leader can do. So in summary, I want to say 3 things in this video. The first one is this card itself actually affects the casual and non-meta decks. It cripples them more than the competitive decks. And number 2, that this card, it's really badly designed. It should not have affected the leader. And the third thing about this card is that as much as I shit about this card and I'm not happy that it is around, I understand that it is also a necessary evil. Right now, I want to address some rebuttal that some of the viewers might have. The first one is, it's a 5k card without barrier, you can remove it easily. Yes, that is correct, but I have to argue that you investing some resources, deck space, energy just to remove this card, you are already putting yourself in much a disadvantage than you already have by playing some of this non-meta casual decks. Another argument that some viewers might have is, if this card is gone, what are we gonna do with King Piccolo and King Vegeta? What is there to slow them down? You are definitely correct, however, it is an argument in bad faith. Just because the existence of tier 1 meta decks, it doesn't mean that you punish them, you have to punish the rest of the decks that are totally innocent. They are innocent. If you want to do something about those decks because they are a little bit too strong, do something about those decks. Don't create a card that kind of indiscriminately just affects everything. This is just not fair. It is not the proper way to deal with that situation. The worst reason that I've heard from people, it's also one that is totally void of empathy. Some people might argue and said that, you know, who's playing launch theme anyway? Who's playing Pilaf? Who's playing Nappa? Who's playing Tianqin Han? And who's playing Shield? If they want to play that, they are minority. We should disregard them. The game, it's good as it is. This is such a bad way of thinking, because I really believe that if someone pays money for the card, even if they pull the card from booster pack, they should be able to play it. They might lose, but at least they might be able to play their game and they are not losing unfairly just to one card. What we're gonna do here is, instead of ending this video on a downward slope, I want to be a little bit more positive, a little bit optimistic. I'm gonna give some suggestion on how to improve this card. The first thing is, don't create silver bullets. If a certain deck is problematic or a certain interaction is problematic, deal with that interaction. The second thing that we can do to improve this card is already something that the card game designer has already started doing, which is to reward instead of punish. Deborah Rituals at hand, big fan of this card. When this card is discarded from your hand by opponent's skill, you get to play this card from your drop area. Take note, it's almost like Mercenary Tile. Mercenary Tile, when a card is discarded, you get your opponent gets punished by sending 3 cards from their hands to their warp. However, Deborah Ritual at hand, you get a 15k on the board, and also at the same time you get to draw 2 cards. So if your opponent makes you discard 1, you draw 2, and then they have to deal with a 15k on the board. The difference between these 2 strategy is that, you know, in this card game, I think it's fun if only the mechanics that you bring in is gonna work. So your opponent can still do his things that he brought, his strategy and the mechanics that he brings to the board, but you, being the smart one, you sideboard the correct cards, you can get rewarded from his strategy. So you're not preventing him from doing it, you're just saying that if you want to do it, I'm gonna gain some advantage. But you can continue to do what you want, because if you just want to play the game that way and you have no other options, because that is the mechanics of the deck, you can still continue and not being punished for it. However, you get rewarded for being a little bit smarter. And the last improvement does not specifically apply to Black Mass Saiyan, it applies to the whole card game design for this card game moving forward. I know this is a very big statement for me, but I am very confident to make that statement. Any effect, unless it is specifically designed to do so, cannot affect leader. For example, when it comes to Black Mask Saiyan, non-keyword skill, non-leader skill. Because if a certain person decided to play Chill, Wiz, or Nappa in a tournament, they should not be negatively punished for doing so. I hope you enjoyed this video, because this video has been a nightmare for me to make. This is already the second take, and every single take it actually took more than 1 hour. This is excluding preparation and editing. Those things can really add up, and so I really hope that you enjoyed this video, because everyone is gonna, I need to be very careful with this video, right? Because everybody is gonna have very different opinion on it. For example, if we just talk about Gogeta 7, people it's gonna have very different opinion about the card based on where do you come from, which mindset do you come from. If you're a very competitive player, Gogeta 7, it's an excellent card for you to win. And if you've been winning tournament with that card, getting it banned, you don't, it's definitely bad for you. However, if you're just a casual player, a non-competitive player, the Gogeta 7 card really just promotes a very unfair and unfun interactions in this card game. But I hope when it comes to Black Mask Saiyan, at least we can all agree that this card, it's a necessary evil, but I hope that we can also agree that this card, it's very badly designed. So if you like this video, I appreciate it. You can give this video a like, subscribe if you want to support me and the channel. If you're looking for TCG products, check out maniapacks.com, link down in the description. Use my discount code SENSU for 5% off all your purchases. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy playing the Dragon Ball Super card game. I hope you're okay. See you guys in the next video. Ciao.